Check, check. Yes. Okay, here we go. Those who are afraid of the ice or coming late will join us. We really don't have any time to spare tonight. We've got a jam-packed night, so we got to get rolling here real fast. So go ahead and grab a seat. I want to start with something tonight just to kind of begin to put our hearts in the right tone. And yes, it's kind of like a reunion tonight, so you guys can say what's up to each other later. Let's get rolling here. Do me a favor as we jump into this moment. Go ahead and close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes. Do whatever you need to do to put yourselves in a posture that you can listen, and not only listen, not just to hear, but listen to respond, listen to understand. I want to read a prayer from a book called The Valley of Vision. It's literally over the past 300 to 400 years. It's a compilation of all the Puritan prayers or the Puritan devotions. And this prayer specifically tonight just kind of captured my heart tonight. And if nothing else, it's kind of where my heart's at, and I want to share it with you guys. This is a prayer. Why don't you close your eyes for a moment? And again, put your heart in a posture where you can listen to understand. Not just listen to hear, but listen to understand. Blessed Lord Jesus, no human mind could conceive or invent the gospel. Acting in internal grace, thou art both messenger and its message. Lived out on earth through infinite compassion, applying thy life to insult, injury, and death, that I might be redeemed, ransomed, and freed. Blessed be thou, O Father, for contriving this way. Eternal thanks to thee, O Lamb of God, for opening this way. Praise everlasting to thee, O Holy Spirit, for applying this way to my heart. Glorious Trinity, impress the gospel on my soul. Impress the gospel on my soul until its virtue diffuses every faculty. Let it be heard, acknowledged, professed, and felt. Teach me to secure this mighty blessing. Help me to give up every darling lust, to submit heart and life to its command, to have it in my will, controlling my affections, molding my understanding. To have it in my will, controlling my affections, and molding my understanding. To adhere strictly to the rules of true religion, not departing from them in any instance, nor for any advantage in order to escape evil, inconvenience, or danger. Take me to the cross to seek glory from its infamy. Strip me of every pleasing pretense of righteousness by my own doings. Take me to the cross and strip me of every pleasing pretense of righteousness by my own doings. O gracious Redeemer, I have neglected thee too long, often crucified thee afresh by my impotence, put thee to open shame. I ask thee for patience that has borne with me so long, and for the grace that has now made me willing to be yours. Oh, unite me to yourself with inseparable bonds, that nothing may draw me back from thee, my Lord, my Savior. Oh, unite me to yourself with inseparable bonds, that nothing may draw me back from thee, my Lord, my Savior. Father, tonight, this is a gift for this community to gather. This is a gift that regardless of what's happening in our life, regardless of circumstance, regardless of instance, regardless of situations that we may feel our hearts being engulfed in, Father, tonight we understand that this is a gift and not a burden. Father, we enter into this place, we enter into this time. Father, we enter into this moment. And we ask that your relentless love, your tenacious love, capture our hearts. Father, pursue our hearts so that we may, in return, respond to this love, respond to your heart, so that this life will make sense, so that this moment will make sense. Father, we know that when we respond to you, you are glorified. And we know that when we respond, we become fully alive. Father, tonight, we have the opportunity to be fully alive in this moment, in this place, within this community, because of your love. And Father, we acknowledge and we confess tonight that we want to be in your presence. We want to be fully alive. So Father, we ask that what takes place on the stage, what takes place in these seats, what takes place in the sound booth, what takes place in this moment may be a blessing to your heart. It may be an aroma, holy fragrance to you, Father. Lord, I pray that this community makes you smile as we respond to your love. In precious name.
stand up with us. Let's just pray for our time. Dear Father, as we approach you tonight, as we know that you're here, we pray that our burdens would be lightened, that we'd approach you fully and wholly, and that we'd see you move in huge ways tonight. And in this time of Advent, that we would remember and that we would respond to what you did, that you sent your Son, that he would die so that we could live. It's a precious name we pray. Turned in the wild, open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. Into the darkness you shine, out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. Greater, I got stronger, got you higher than any other. I got us healer, I stand the power I got. To shine, out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger, got you higher than any other. Our God is greater, awesome power. Greater. surrender as you lay down your life. You took up the sinner's cross, and your love rescued mine. Redemption, love and mercy display. I'm lifting my eyes to see that your truth never fails. Sing us out, Lord of the heavens. Lord of the heavens, King of all days. Without you, my blood slips away. Healed by your mercy, consumed by your grace. Cause I found in the thank you for beauty. I thank you for the hearts that you've put in people. That in the midst of coming home from school or in the midst of finals, that you wouldn't be low on the list, but that you'd be our first priority. And I thank you for that blessing. I pray for Freddie. That you communicate through him well, effectively. And I pray for movement, that we would see it, we would slow down, we would see it. It's in the precious name of the Lord. Man, I just want to remind you guys as we jump into tonight, and I love you guys. I love you guys. It's moments like tonight and just, kind of wrapping up a series, knowing that we've got 2 weeks off ahead of us. I just want to remind you guys, I am joyed and honored, and I count this a ridiculous privilege to be your shepherd, to be your pastor, to walk alongside you, to sojourn with you, to partner with you as together we both try to figure out what this means to continuously respond to the calling of God in our life, to respond to the invitation and the continual relentless pursuit of His heart after our heart. And so as your pastor, as your leader, as your shepherd, I want to tell you guys I love you and I believe in you. And for moments, I don't know what it looks like for you, but for a moment, can we just all agree that there's something powerful that takes place and happens when the community, when our community, when the body of Christ, when the bride of Christ gathers together? Can we all just agree that something powerful happens? And can we all agree that oftentimes when we gather, we miss things because of the posture, and because of the place, and because of the state of our hearts? And so as your pastor, as your shepherd, I want to continuously call you back to God's interest is not necessarily what we do here, what necessarily takes place here. He's not interested in the band. He's not interested in what songs that they sing, how talented they are, although a blessing
that our community has just ridiculous amounts of talent that come and lead us in worship. God's not interested in that. He's not interested in what takes place in the cafe or what happens at the televisions or the coffee and the hot cocoa. He's not interested in any of that. What he's interested in tonight is capturing our hearts. And I feel like I need to remind us and call us back to that, especially in the midst of a season when our hearts are being hijacked by the marketing genius and by the advertising genius. And so we've kind of reveled in this passage for the past 2 weeks, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, above all else. It seems like David uses extreme words. Solomon uses extreme words. It seems like he uses goes to extreme lengths above all else. Again, I have a Greek teacher in college, and when we asked what does all mean, he said all means all, and that's all means. We don't need a fancy translation of the word all. So it's above all else, guard your hearts, first the wellspring of life. Eugene Peterson in the Message paraphrase, he says, take vigilant watch over your hearts. That's where life begins. And so in the midst of the season, in the midst where the genius, the marketing genius and the advertising geniuses are trying to capture our hearts, what God is saying, guard your hearts. Above all else, guard your hearts because it's the wellspring of life. That's where life begins. And so one of the things I want to do tonight, as we're jumping into this, the tech guys they're trying to make connection right now with Steve, our missionary in Honduras. How many went to Honduras last year? Raise your hand. We're going to reconnect with Steve, and hopefully a lot of you who are tonight who didn't get a chance to go, hopefully you're going to go this year. But I wanted to do this tonight because here's what kept coming to my heart. Here's what kept coming to my mind in the series is as I continue to learn how to pastor my sons better. I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. They're both freaking rock stars. And as I continue to learn how to pastor, Ryder, and Scout, last night we're lying in bed, my wife and I with our boys, we're going through the Christmas stories we do every single night, asking them questions, trying to get them to retain. At this point, again, we know that they're just parroting back. They're just regurgitating information back. We know we don't know if there's anything necessarily tweaking in their hearts or happening in their hearts, but we want them to understand at this young age the point and the purpose of Christmas. And we don't want them to understand for cliche reasons and for the adages that we have in this, in our country, in our culture, Jesus is the reason for the season. We don't want them to know it for cliche reasons and for these adages. We want them to know for life change, for heart change. We want them to know so that they are the future of the church. And we said this last week. Oftentimes, adults look at you guys, look at us, I'm in your generation, they say, you're the future of the church. When someone says that to you, I want you to stop them. I want you to tell them, no, we're the church of now. This generation needs to stand up and take your place in leadership in this country. Take your place of leadership in this world. You can't wait for the baton to be passed. What I'm telling you is the baton has already been passed. You are the church of now. You're the church of today, not of tomorrow. And so as I'm looking at my sons who are the church of tomorrow, America's going to be in a completely different place 20 plus years from now. I'm going to read something for you in a second that I might jump into now. America's going to be in a completely different place 20 years from now. And it's going to be my sons who are the leaders taking the church through the places it needs to be taken through and to. It's your job. It's your responsibility now. So as Americans, I wanted to put the story of Honduras back in front of us as our community. We are partnered. We are committed to partner with Steve and El Swampo and Kairos and Daryl Smithball from Footsteps Missions. We have committed to partnering with them for the next 5 years plus. Right now, we went to Honduras last July. We are sending an senior adult trip. This is incredible. We're sending senior adults from our trip to take a cruise. They're boarding in Roatan Bay, Honduras. You're sitting here saying, nice mission trip. But what's happening is they've been collecting school supplies, over 2,000 pounds worth of school supplies over the last several months that they can't ship there because it's too expensive, that they can't fly there because it's too expensive. And believe it or not, it's cheaper for them to take a cruise, and they can take the 2,000 pounds on the ship, port right in Roatan. Steve and Daryl pick them up, drive that to Swampo, and drop all these school supplies off of the kids. Our senior adults People who can barely walk are going to the places where we went. If you were in a swamp, you know it, saw it. They're going to walk over Swamp River. They're going to do everything that they did. Their digestive system is going to be messed up for 2 weeks like ours. They're going to experience it all. And then a few months after that, we've got another adult team going over to Infidel Orphanage that Daryl Smith called in Footsteps Missions. The government just gave them over the leadership of the orphanage. And so we've got 3 mission trips going to Honduras to continue a partnership with them. And we are going to constantly and consistently keep this story in front of you. Tonight, this is kind of the first attempt at that. It worked earlier, it may not work. But here's what we'll do in lieu of that in time being until the Thanksgiving light comes on. We'll let you know that we can do this. I want to read something to you. This came out this week. Listen to this. George Barna, he's a pollster, a Christian pollster. He takes surveys and polls and then kind of lumps all the research together and then writes about it. And he wanted to look back at the past decade, specifically the past year, as this year's coming to a close. And he wrote some incredible insights that they've compiled. And I want to read to you 3 of them and listen to these. And again, whatever you have to do to listen to these, because this is the incredible time. This is the world that you live in. This is the America that you live in. No longer is this country the same country that your parents grew up in. Listen to this. The first trend in Christianity in the past decade, specifically the past year, what they're talking about is usually change happens over a large period of time. They're saying right now change is happening so fast and so rapid. And here's some of the trends. Number 1, the Christian church, this is in America, the Christian church is becoming less theologically literate. The Christian church is becoming less theologically literate. So what do we know about theology? We know theology is the study of God. But more specifically, we know that biblically as we open up the scriptures and we see the theology, we see the nature of God. As the nature of God is exposed through the scriptures, we call that theology. We begin to see the character of God exposed. We begin to see the character of God revealed through theology. And so when preachers and pastors toss out the word theology, what we're understanding, what we're talking about is the character of God and the deep nuances of theology as we're exploring, as we're pursuing, as we're responding to the initiation of God in our life. That's theology. We want to know Him more. So we study Him and we pursue Him and we explore Him. The theological literacy in America is declining. It's becoming less. What does that mean? That in your lifetime, the peers, what was universally known in America, no longer can we take for granted. That's just known. He goes on to say, what used to be basic, universally known truths about Christianity are now unknown mysteries to large and growing shares of Americans, especially young adults. For instance, Barna Group studies in 2010 showed that while most people regard Easter, and I will lump Christmas in with this, as a religious holiday, only a minority of adults associate Easter with the resurrection of Jesus Christ. They associate the fact that Easter is associated with some sort of religious, religiosity, but they don't associate it with the resurrection of Jesus. Other examples include that finding that few adults believe that their faith is meant to be the focal point of their life, or to be integrated into every aspect. Into every aspect of their existence. Further, a growing majority believe the Holy Spirit is a symbol of God's power and presence, but not a living entity. As the 2 younger generations, the Blessers and Mosaics, the Blessers are your parents' generation, you guys are the Mosaics in this study, ascend to the numerical position of supremacy in churches across the nation. As your numbers grows and you guys become the power brokers, so to speak, the data suggests that biblical literacy is likely to decline significantly. In your generation, it's going to be our generation where the Bible loses its place of power and authority in our culture. Do you feel the responsibility yet? Do you feel the weight of these findings yet? Is it the theological free-for-all that is encroaching in Protestant churches nationwide suggests the coming decade will be a time of unparalleled theological diversity in inconsistency. Let me sum this up in one little point. In the time that's ahead of us, we will be thrust into more confusion than America's ever experienced before. It's your generation that is the church of today. It is the church of now. I would suggest, a lot of historians, a lot of people are saying that America is quickly becoming a post-Christian nation. What does that mean? In 20 years, we're going to be where Europe's at. How many people have been to Europe before? Raise your hand. Okay, all three of us. If you go to Europe, it's cold, it's dark, they want absolutely nothing to do with Jesus. And when you go and you try to talk to Jesus, they're cold. They turn a deaf ear to. They want absolutely nothing to do with Jesus. It is a culture and a country and a continent completely bankrupt of God. In 20 years, they suggest, they call it a post-evangelical, post-Christian existence, because there was one time where Europe was the center, was the epicenter of Christianity. What's happened? They're saying that America is 20 years removed from that. What I'm saying is, America is already a post-Christian nation. We are already living in post-evangelical times, already. People are turning away, or they want absolutely nothing to do with Scripture, with theology, with God, more and more every single day. It's your generation that is the church of today, not the church of tomorrow, the church of today. It goes on to say, let me read one more for you. Growing numbers of people, this is another trend. Growing numbers of people are less interested in spiritual principles. They're less interested in taking a journey and responding, pursuing, laboring, wrestling with, seeking after, praying through. They're less interested in spiritual principles and more desirous of learning pragmatic solutions to life. What does that mean? They're less interested in doing whatever it takes to know who God is, and what they want is they want practical solutions. Just give me the formula. Just tell me what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what to say, how to say it, and I'll do it. Just give me. What are they asking for? Your generation, our nation, is asking for the shortcut. Just give me the shortcut. Give me the fastest, most efficient, best and easiest way to the heart of God. Give me that. That's what I want. But what we know is when we open the Scriptures, it just simply doesn't exist, right? There's no such thing as a shortcut to intimacy. Intimacy happens through adventure and through adventure only. Well, what do we know about adventure? With adventure comes peril, comes crisis. Comes the lack of safety. Comes the lack of knowing. Last week we talked about if I were to jump, and when I stand at the precipice, whatever it may be, for whatever it is that I feel God's calling me to come, everything inside me is screaming to jump. I feel like my heart's going to pound into my chest. I feel like I'm supposed to do this. I feel like I'm supposed to talk here. I feel like I'm supposed to say this. I feel like I'm supposed to go there. I feel like I'm supposed to give this amount of money. I feel like I'm supposed to do this. Everything inside is just, I have to do this. And what do? We take a step back and we don't do it. Why? Because I believe there's times where our heart just knows things that our mind just can't fully comprehend. And we talk ourselves off the ledge, so to speak. And what I said last week is, when we do that one time, it becomes easier to do it the second time. When we do it the second time, it becomes much easier to do it the third time. When we do it the third time. Every single time we say no, and every single time we step back, our heart gets a little bit more hardened. It's a little bit more calloused. It makes it that much more difficult that when we hear the voice of God calling us to do something, to take the journey and the path that's required for us to take in order for us to understand, to know who He is and to experience the intimacy. Because that makes it difficult to do it. So each of us has this deep adventure that yearns and craves inside of us. This compulsion that holds this deep sense of adventure. So here's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not your fault that America is the way that she is. But what I am saying is, it is your responsibility to do something about it. At 14, guess what? It's your responsibility to do something about it. At 15, your responsibility. 16, 17, 18. It's your responsibility to do something about it. no longer okay to sit back and watch it all take place and watch it all happen. It's our responsibility now to do something about this. What does that look like? It looks like response. It looks like obedience. So what I want to do tonight, and you guys, I'll keep working on it. If it pops up, and we'll, if we do it, let's do it tonight. Appreciate you guys trying. Steve's in El Swampo, and that's you know what I'm saying? They have internet access there sometimes. If the Poop River allows it to internet access, I guess. Open your Bibles to Luke chapter 1. Open your Bibles to Luke chapter 1. Shift things up real quick. So here's the deal. When missionaries get to a distant land with a distant people group, there's one thing that immediately rises to the surface. There's one thing that they have become immediately aware of. And what's that? That they have a message that they would like to convey. But the message that they would like to convey doesn't happen to be in their language. It doesn't happen to be in a state that this distant people group can fully understand. So they recognize upon entering into this distant people group, they recognize that they have to translate their message into a language, into a concept, into a story that this distant people group can understand. So missionaries look at the language, they look at the customs, they look at the metaphors, they look at the culture. They study it, they exegete it, they pull it out, they mine it, and they formulate a way that they can accurately convey their message. So really, missionaries have two distinct goals when they go to a people group. The first goal is to, number one, accurately convey their message. A missionary, when they go to a new, distant, unreached people group, the first thing is to accurately convey their message. The second goal is that their message will be accurately understood. To accurately communicate their message, and that their message would be accurately understood. That's the two goals. And the reality is the same thing if you live in an English-speaking country, where English is fluent. It's the same exact thing. We have a message. We want to accurately communicate our message, to accurately, compellingly, with intrigue, with authority, tell the story, but we also know that the story must be understood. And so we can articulate our message 100% completely accurate and still be 100% completely ineffective. If I communicate tonight 100% completely accurate, and you walk out tonight not understanding what I said tonight, then tonight was 100% completely ineffective. Does that make sense? This is what missionaries deal with when they go overseas. This is what your nation, that your generation, will struggle with and will deal with in this next 20 plus years. How will you accurately communicate the message of the gospel, the message of the cross, the message of descent, the message of servant, with the tenacious and the tireless love that God pursues our hearts with? That's the gospel. How will you communicate that accurately in a way that it will be 100% accurately understood? So let me propose a what if for you. What if the set of assumptions and expectations that we associate with what we know as Christmas, what if they had a completely different set of assumptions and expectations when Jesus was born? What if? What would it look like? I would submit to you, obviously, that they did. And unfortunately for many people, and I include myself in this, the Christmas story currently has it's lost its definition, it's lost its compelling nature, it's no longer riveting anymore. Well, why is this? Well, number one, the Christmas story is no longer riveting to us, it's no longer compelling to us because we live in America. In 2010, we're 2,000 plus years removed from the Christmas story. And in 2,000 plus years, it's completely lost its definition. submit that, it's just simply because of where we've been born. It's not your fault. We need your responsibility. But what if, just maybe, what if the only reason why we carry a completely different set of assumptions and expectations with it is because Isaiah chapter 29, verse 13, these people, they say they're mine. They come close to me with their mouth. They honor me with their lips. But their hearts are far from me. So I understand that we're Americans. 2,000 years removed from this moment in history. But what if the greater reason why the Christmas story has lost its definition, lost its understanding? Because our hearts are far from Him. The text goes on to say that your worship is nothing more than man-made, rote, it's repetitions, it's ritualistic, it's mechanical, it's formulaic. Which again, God says, I'm not interested in any of that. I want your hearts. So what has happened in the Christmas story that is no longer captivating our hearts? What's happened in the Christmas story that's no longer capturing our hearts? So here's what I love about the Christmas story. What I love about the Christmas story is simply this, that when you look at the Christmas story, I'm still learning to find this. Why? Because I'm American. I don't know Christmas the way that we know Christmas. And I'm not saying it's bad, because man, I'm thankful for the traditions that we have. You know what I'm saying? Christians can respond to Santa one of three ways. We can reject him, we can accept it, or we can redeem him. We can accept Santa, we can reject it, and we can redeem it. We're called to redeem it. We're called to redeem the story. Here's what I want to do. We got to speak in the line. So let's jump to this, and then we'll jump back to this. So remember that. Hey, Steve, can you hear me? Steve, you there? He's down in the computer lab. He's in the computer lab. Does he have his earphones on? Can you hear me, Steve? You look good. Steve, can you hear me? Good. Yes? Okay, awesome, man. So that's Steve. He's our missionary down in Roatan Bay, Honduras. He's right now down. Are you at the computer lab, Steve? Yeah. We can't hear him though, huh? So if we can't hear him, then this no longer becomes an interview.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes. That was a Verizon thing.
Right.
We don't like Verizon.
Yeah.
Hey. You there still?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Hey, let's jump into this, Steve. I've already introduced our students to you. I know you can't see us, but we can see you. You're looking at the guys up in the booth. But what I wanted to do is, first off, I wanted to give you an opportunity to communicate to our students, because it's been, it's been several months since we've been there. I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell our students about the impact that our community had in Honduras, and then what's happened since we've left.
One of the biggest things that I experienced after you guys left from here is that all of our kids here was a few of them was crying because of the relationship they never had felt so loved in their life. They never had felt that people actually come and dedicated quality time with them, and that made a huge difference in their lives. I could sense and see them after you guys left. They were so excited, and they were so thankful in a way that they were part of this of your team coming down to Honduras. The neighbors, the mothers, the fathers, the people from the business came to me and asked me what was going on. I mean, like, what is happening in El Swampo? Why are these people coming and hanging out with these kids where no one else cared for? And I just said, it's just God moving. It's just God touching these people, touching you guys to come and share with them. And the whole community was on fire for like a couple weeks after you guys went. They were just talking about it. They were just excited about what was going on. And for real, they were seeing God hands reaching out to people here. They were hearing God's voice talking to the people through you guys.
That's amazing, Steve. I will echo the same thing. I mean, for our community, for the students who went in the weeks and the months and since, I consistently see people talking about Honduras and reminiscing on that time. Not only, obviously, not only do we have an opportunity to bless your lives, but you guys have impacted and greatly blessed our lives. So, again, we want to thank you for that. The second question I have for you is, share with us any new news that you have. What's going on since we've been gone?
I'm so excited at church back in the U.S. because today we paid off the property that we're going to actually build our community center, and this is going to give us an opportunity to even draw closer to these kids. We could focus more on them. We could have we're going to have them now probably 60% or 80% more time we can spend with them, because we're going to actually have a building for them where we could go and teach them about the gospel, teach them skills that they could earn a decent living. You guys know when you were down here, my house is very small and the space here is very limited, but now we're going to have, thanks to God and thanks to caring people like you guys, we're going to have a whole community center, and not only to work with the kids, but to work with the single moms as well.
That's awesome, Steve. Who's that?
That's Stevito. He wants to jump in. So,
What's up, buddy? So, Steve, it was amazing. Some of you guys knew that when we were there, Sarah and I and Guy Arthur were there, we were walking through some of the properties that we were praying, and while we were there, it was only a dream. It was only a dream that we could get some of that property and that we could be a part of this ministry. These lives can be impacted, and here today, I mean, it hasn't been that long, they've already purchased the land, and in future trips, we're going to have the opportunity to help out build it in the community center. That's amazing, Steve. One last question for you, man. And the one that everyone's dying to know is tell us about the kids. How are the kids doing, man?
They're doing so great. We have now this whole devotion role that we're carrying out. We started like a daily basis devotion with them and to work on their spiritual lives. And we also 95% of all our kids in school has gained up to the next level. So that is something that has motivated us as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And another thing is that in the soccer league, 3 of our teams, 3 out of 5 are champions. So that is so scary for us, because we have these kids that no one cared about, no one believed in, and we brought them up and made them champions, not only in soccer but also in life.
That's amazing, Steve. Man, the point of this was obviously we wanted to keep the story in front of our community. We want you to know that you're not forgotten, that we always talk about you, that we always pray for you, and we want to do this several times a year. So thanks for making this happen. Thanks for taking the time and being consistent. We wanted to tell you Merry Christmas. And so while we're here in America, you're not forgotten. Your story's not forgotten. We just received a whole bunch of a big package from Daryl, where we have an opportunity to start sponsoring certain kids and start getting some money. We know that supplies are coming down with our senior adults, and we know that more groups are coming, but all the plans are already in place, and we can't wait to get back out and see you, man. So.
Well, the kids, I have to answer a question that they keep popping up every day, like, when are they coming back? They keep asking, when are you guys coming back? And hey, it's amazing how some of these guys, some of the older kids and some of the younger kids, the relationship they build, and that love that they have established for you guys is amazing. We are sure making a huge difference in the lives of these kids. Thank you guys so much for your prayers. Thank you guys so much for your love and for that desire to come and share God with these kids here in Honduras.
Thank you, Steve. We'll be back on July 23rd. We'll be there on July 23rd. And we're flying directly this time, so we don't have to worry about hotels burning down, and buses breaking down, and going in strange vehicles with strange men in strange places. We don't have to worry about that anymore. So we'll be there. Hey, listen, you got to promise me one thing before we leave. Okay, next time we Skype, you have to rap for us.
All right.
Yes, hey, Merry Christmas, we love you, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, Merry Christmas to you guys too, and wish you all the best, and keep on praying for us. We sure really appreciate your prayers, and they're making a difference, because see, God has answered. I mean, I was expecting him is answering like a long term, but he answered like quicker than we thought.
Yes, that's good, man. Well, hey, we love you. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, my brother. Goodbye. God bless you all. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas, Steve. See you, man.
Okay.
Hey, guys, seriously, the tech guys, thank you so much for working hard and getting that up. In a lot of ways, don't hear what I'm not saying. In a lot of ways, I mean, that story in and of itself, and just seeing Steve, and those of you who've been here before, I mean, 3 out of 5 soccer teams become the champions. They have nothing. They have nothing. 3 out of the 5 soccer teams had champions. The reason that they were even able to play soccer is because we brought soccer kids down here. They've got nothing to walk around barefoot. 80% of the island is below the age of 15. 80% of the women are single mothers. I mean, it's an island that's completely in ruin. They desire, they want everything that America has. When we go down there, they don't want to speak in Spanish. They don't want to speak in their island, their native island, whatever it is. Messed up, a whole bunch of different languages. They just want to speak in English. They want to rap Eminem songs. And they want to wear your hats because they think you're cool. But the one thing they don't know is you're white people from St. Charles who are not cool at all. And so just because you're American, they think you're cool, except for the God. And I had to get it in. And so here's, if nothing else tonight, and listen, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that the scriptures aren't important. I'm going to jump into something real quick. What I'm saying is there not anything else I can do more beautiful than that? We want to keep this story in front of you. So as it's Christmas, I wanted to remind us of those who have nothing. I wanted to remind us of those fortunate. I wanted to remind us that that community right there, there was nothing in the things that you did. There was nothing in the things that you did. So while we're sitting here hoping that we can get something for Christmas, they're hoping they find out what it is. And here's what's crazy, it's in the same exact time as the hours. It's not that far from us. It's 2.5 hours away. And it's completely antithetical to our lives. I mean, we know that existence is right here, so we things that we talk about often. Shame on us for going across the road and going across the street. In this season of Advent, in this season of waiting with expectation and anticipation, who are you serving? Who are you? Who are you lifting up as the hand goes to God? Lifting someone else up. In these next 2 weeks, who will you lift up? Who will you bring up? Or you live a path of descent so that the community can be raised up. So I love the Christmas story that exposes our hearts. The Christmas story exposes our hearts. Why? Because truth always exposes our hearts. And when truth is exposed, we must respond. When truth is exposed, we must respond. When we've been given an invitation, we must respond. And when we respond, it makes God glorious. When we respond in obedience, it makes God glorious. St. Irenaeus, one of the fathers of the faith, has said that the glory of God is man fully alive. We have an opportunity to be fully alive as we respond in obedience to the call, to the invitation to participate in whatever it is God wants to do. We have the opportunity to be fully alive. Right now, ask yourself, do you feel fully alive? If there's any other answer besides a resounding yes, I would submit to you right now that you're not responding. If in this moment we don't feel fully alive, you and I together, we are individually responsible. Obedience is individual. We are not responding. We must respond. You're looking for hope? Respond. You're looking to fulfill the promise? Respond. You're looking to understand this love? Respond. Because Christmas is a story of hope, promise, and love. You have to respond. So what I was going to go into is this whole story of the backstory of why Christmas is a Christmas, starting all the way back in Isaiah the prophet. Isaiah, the point of the prophet was to communicate from God. The point of the priest was to communicate from people to God. Isaiah is a prophet. He's a poet prophet. He's an artist. He's brilliant at what he does. He's probably one of, if not the best, to come out of Israel. Isaiah writes from Isaiah 40, chapter 40 to 66, where we can find the backstory of the gospel. Isaiah creates this anticipation and this expectation that a time is coming that it's not going to be the same. Israel, the context is Israel's in exile. The Assyrian army has come in, they've overthrown their empire, and Israel finds herself, Israelites, they find themselves in exile again. Isaiah creates an expectation that a time is coming that you're no longer going to be in exile. A time is coming that things are going to change. A time is coming that God is going to come back and reign and rule. So for 700 years, the nation of Israel, most of which was spent in complete silence in the intertestamental time, the time between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Complete silence, 400 plus years. 700 years, the nation of Israel waited for the announcement of Christ's birth. So you can imagine that when the angel shows up to Mary, whose heart has been filled with expectation and anticipation, has been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation, that for her entire life, she has heard and she has waited anxiously, again, filled with expectation and filled with anticipation, that this time was coming. And so you can imagine, although filled with confusion, and although not understanding why, and although her faith is rattling, her faith is shaken, and it's challenged from the get-go, and she says, this is going to be impossible. And the foundations of her relationship with God at the time were shaken. She was filled with anticipation and expectation. And although Mary is to be honored for her example, we must honor Mary for her example of faithfulness. And faith being shaken and hope and trust and repentance and throwing everything on there. And as we can only imagine, as her situation increased and became more and more evident, the difficult situation Mary found herself in. We'll never fully imagine. We'll never fully understand. And although we are to honor her for her qualities and for her faithfulness, she's not meant to be worshipped. Although we're meant to honor her, she's not meant to be raised to unduly be exalted. Because what do we know? Good theology says, right off the bat in verse 26, that God sent. Good theology says that everything initiates with God, and we respond to God. The fact that Mary was chosen, that God had favor on Mary, was simply out of grace. The fact that you woke up this morning and you had another day of life, and you had another breath of air, is simply out of grace. It's a gift. Good theology says it had everything to do with God and had nothing to do with Mary. Now, what I mean by that is Mary, God initiated and Mary responded. This story forces us to respond. We must respond in this moment. So I'm going to call the band back out, and I don't know if they're going to turn that out because I can still do it upstairs with them. So if you guys can sign, we're going to call the band back out, and we're going to respond. We're going to close this time out. And again, this is a picture of obedience. Mary says, "How are you going to do this?" This is quite impossible. This doesn't make any sense. but I will do what you've called me to do. I will become what you've called me to become. So that's the posture is there. Posture is humble acceptance. Humble acceptance. Because there's humble acceptance, there's humble participation. What should the posture of the church be? Humble acceptance and humble participation. It's our only response. Humble acceptance and humble participation. Listen, because this is going to sound funky. Listen. It is not the function of the church. Check. It's not the function of the church. It's not the function of the church to be missional. Listen, bring it back. It's not the function of the church to be missional. That sounds funky, but listen. Good theology. It's not, mission is not the function of the church. Mission is a function of God. The function of the church is to humbly participate in the mission of God. Does that make sense? Our only disposition, our only posture, our only response is humble acceptance, humble participation to what it is that God has called us to be, to who it is God's called us to be, to what it is that God's called us to do. And so tonight, if we are to respond in this spiritual journey, something's required of us. Something will be required of you. If this story is to come alive, if the roots of this story that about 2,700 plus years ago are to find its place in this country, the baton is in your hands. It's in our hands. You're the church of today. How will you respond to this truth, to this message? Because truth always exposes our hearts. Close your eyes for a moment. In all of our hearts lies this longing for adventure and this deep, deep desire for intimacy. In spite of all of our efforts, there's no way that we can ignore its call as our solicitation. So because of the fear of risky nature and lack of comfort, maybe just because of sheer boredom of the rough nature of this holiday, we act as this adventure is so deep within us. This is an invitation to drink deeply from the well of life. The depth of meaning and purpose of intimacy. So this longing for adventure requires something from us. It requires that we respond to it. It's not what the Holy Spirit is doing in your heart, not what the Holy Spirit is calling to us. You still have to do conversations to have. What money to give, what gift to give. Well, that is different for every single of us. But when we respond, God is made glorious. And I pray tonight, this gives God all the glory. Father, we love you. We pray these next few minutes that we respond in obedience to what your heart is calling our heart. The depth of you coming to the depth of us. Lord, I pray that we respond to what it is that you want us to do.
illusion. I was lost and insecure. Still mercy falls from my attention. You were waiting there, and I let you. Trading life for life.
honor to worship with y'all tonight. We've got one more song we're going to sing, and we'll call it a night. But let's sing this song out as a declaration of the adventure that we're going to embark on, and the journey that we gladly take for intimacy with the Father.
So as the Advent season continues, we journey with the Israelites from 2,700 years ago, and we wait with anticipation and in expectation that a time is coming when things will no longer be the same. A time is coming when everything will change. The difference between them and us today is we're living in an era of hope. We're living in an era of grace now. And we know it's getting better. We know more is to come. And so I pray that this community, over the next couple of weeks, we take an opportunity to press pause. We take an opportunity to reflect. We take an opportunity as the people of love to give that love away, to lift other people up in this moment so they may see the same hope, they experience the same hope and the same promise and the same tenacious, relentless love of the gospel that we know, that we see. So God, as we leave this place, as we're reminded in this season of Advent that this world tells us that it's not going to get any better. As the marketing genius continues to hijack our minds and continues to capture our hearts, Lord, I pray that our hearts will be full of gratitude and thanksgiving when we reflect on what you've done and who you are. So, Father, I pray that above all else we guard our hearts because we know it's the wellspring of life. And I pray that when you call, we respond. When we respond, you're made glorious. And when you're made glorious, we fully come alive. So, Father, thank you for this truth as it exposes our hearts. Lord, I pray that this community loves in a love that only you can give and in a way that only we can explain. Because, Father, at the end of the day, we're all broken misfits in the search and journey of love and depth and meaning and purpose and intimacy. And Father, we acknowledge that only happens through you. And so we love you. We thank you. Lord, I pray that, again, this community just makes you smile and response to your greatness. God, that you're patient with us. And, Lord, continue to allow us to dream what it is that you have called us to do, what it is that you called us to do. We love you. We thank you. In your precious name we pray. Hey guys, can you thank the band tonight? Okay, two announcements real quick. Remember, Honduras is July 23rd through 30th. $1,400. If you don't have a passport, you need your passport. Go get your passport. You need your passport for everything. Go get your passport, $1,400. Again, money is a terrible excuse for you not to go on this trip. It is a terrible excuse, July 23rd through the 30th. And lastly, Wire is going to be, or as you guys say, Wire is going to be February 18, 19, and 20. The good news is we're back on track that Monday's President's Day, so you guys can sleep in all day on Monday. So 18, 19, 20, $35, and you guys know Wire. The theme is, you'll see when you come. Love you guys. That's not the theme. It's a surprise. You get it when you come. You know what I'm saying? So, love you guys. Make sure you guys say what's up. There's hot chocolate coffee in the back. Hang out. See you guys soon. Love you. We're off the next 2 weeks. We'll be back in January.